All right,
Great.
so we're going. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, awesome. It's good to see you again. Um, I'm not gonna get
Yeah.
into it, but obviously you had some hurdles earlier this year, so it's good to see you and your family doing well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really weird. Hold on one second. Man, that door doesn't really close very well. But anyway, yeah. We found ourselves in a predicament, and I feel like everything happens for a reason. And we I feel like we escaped a really bad situation because I was looking at the numbers, and like 1 in 5 people where we were living in Newark are infected. So I'm so thankful. Like it was, we got really lucky. I feel like when you're transitioning into a different time in your life, like marriage, like children, like, growing up and this kind of stuff, it's scary and it's difficult because you don't really know if you're making the right decisions and you don't know what's ahead of you. But if you have within your heart that everything's going to be okay, which is like, I became this fucking Zen master when it came to just like dealing with this situation, and everything worked out. And like, of course, when you're elevating your life, when you're transitioning from adulthood or childhood to adulthood, it's scary, and a lot of scary things happen. And it was just calming the mind and just knowing that everything's going to be okay. And this is just a different, time in my life, and I'm transitioning, and it's scary. But with growth comes pain. And it's up to you to transmute that pain and that fear and all of that into something beautiful. And I've been finding that this year has been a really tough year for all of us, but we're all collectively turning that fear and anxiety and, I don't know, into something beautiful. So yeah, that's what we've been doing. It's been scary though. It's been
Yeah,
really scary. We didn't know what the hell was going to happen, and things just fell into place. Of course, a lot of bullshit came with it. There's a lot of hurdles within life that happens when you're transitioning into the next phase. But yeah. So what have you been up to?
same shit. I mean, obviously this year has been crazy for everybody.
Married. So
I
exciting.
am.
It's like, so
I am.
you're also going to
That's a
the next
transition,
phase. It's
huh?
really beautiful. It's a transition. Yeah.
Yeah, it's another test, but it's awesome. I don't want to do anything else. So it's a big
Nice.
one though, but I feel like this whole year, like you said, with everybody, it's like a big collective test. Like it's like a transition on a grand scale. Like obviously everyone's got their own shit going on, but it's everybody I've talked to, it's everything I watch, it's everything I hear about. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But like you said, you just got to know that, you're awesome going into it. So you take all the right steps to make sure that you're still awesome on the other side.
Oh yeah. 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 I mean, I think like just going through things with just knowing, like knowing you have that energy, knowing you attract, knowing um, that I always like, even with my water, like I am crazy with intention, and I'm constantly like breathing what I want into existence. So like I'm like with water, I program water. Whenever I wake up, I'm very like everything's very intentional. And I was just thinking about what my aunt had told me. She gave me some information really when I was like 16. And she was like, 10 or 20 years are going to pass you by really quickly because you're going to be having fun. And you're just going to like blink and it's going to be gone. And you really need to like take time to be intentional with everything, because just enjoy it, because it's going to be gone and we're not here for that long. So like that's what I've been that's what I've been thinking about for the past, like since lockdown. Before that, for like 2 years, I've been contemplating the other transition. Even though it's not here, I think I've just slowed down. And like that's why I slowed down a lot with my content and everything, because it was just like I wasn't living for me and doing for me and being human. And so I stepped back to make my life what I wanted it, so I can go back and, just live and like live not for social media and the internet and all that stuff, but like human interaction and like human experiences. So like I've been, like, you're in this like matrix and everything's an illusion, but you still want to enjoy whatever you have here. And to like, you know what I mean? Like that's what
Yeah,
I'm
a lot of
doing.
people feel that they're in this matrix and that everything's an illusion, and it really bums them out, and they think they take it entirely negative, you know.
Yeah.
It's like then shouldn't we be having a blast all the time then? Like
Yeah.
why get bummed out about anything then? Like you said, it's such a short time. I don't have time to be, sad about things or dwelling on things.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I feel like I spent a lot of time doing that before understanding I needed to heal. And like everybody around me needs to heal. It's not just me, it's everybody. And we're all doing it, and we're coming to these deeper understandings of ourself and reality. And it's a beautiful time to be alive. It's also really scary, but it's beautiful. It's terrifying, but it's beautiful. But I feel like my trips and the stuff that I talked about in like 2016, 2017, 2018 really prepared me for this. So like I'm getting calls from like all of my family members and like my friends, and they're just like, this is tough. I'm like, I'm having a blast. Emotionally, because I've been going through the dark night of the soul and the trauma healing and all that stuff, and all that. I've been dealing with this since 2012, 2011. So it just feels like
You've been prepping.
I've been prepping and I can handle it, and I've been handling it very well. So I know it's been difficult for a lot of people to be alone, but I'm an empath, so I love being alone.
Yeah.
I feel much, and I'm very sensitive. So this was normal to me. I've been doing this. I've been social distancing.
I've been social distancing since I got out of high school.
Yeah. So like I've never really been like very popular, like with people. Like I have my family, I have my friends, but it's always digital, like because my family lives like halfway across America. So like we've always been using phones and iPads to communicate. So I don't feel like this is anything different. I don't think it's very extreme, but I've been very lucky because my job is remote. Like I do everything, for at home. So that's kind of been pretty helpful. And it's really funny. I I don't know, you're probably into astrology. I got my like life path done and everything, and
Hmm.
it was saying that I was going to work from home, and I didn't understand it because it was like 2015, and in 2015 you wanted a career outside. You know what I mean? I
Hmm.
just didn't get it, and I was like, damn, this sucks. But now I get it. I'm very thankful. Like, um,
Yeah, you didn't know you wanted it.
yeah. So yeah. Have you been tripping?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. Had some mushrooms over the summer, a few experiences, but nothing crazy. I haven't felt the need to because I feel like enough shit is going on with me, like spiritually, that even talking about some of this shit is like I already feel like a buzz, like something's already tuning in. Like, watch,
Hmm.
what are you gonna do next? Because like, so no, I've kind of been pumping the brakes on that just for a little bit.
Yeah. That's why my content on my YouTube channel completely changed because
Hmm.
I was doing psychedelic a lot, and then something happened. I think it was the last DMT trip that I had where I just became like way too sensitive. Third eye popped open, and even have it, like you said, even having conversations like this gets me into that psychedelic space. So I'm every day trying to relax. And that's why I created this relaxing environment because, like you said, like it becomes intense. Life is very psychedelic.
Yeah, yeah. You start to notice the weirdness every day, and you start seeing the geometric patterns and the fractals and nature and everything, and I'm like, this shit's going on all the time. And
Yeah.
maybe I'm just more sensitive to it now, but it's always like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's why I haven't been able to. And I completely understand it. I completely understand it. It's like hanging up the phone. You can't really take any more information in because the information is already within you.
right.
Like
And
it's
now it's about what I'm doing with that information
yeah, yeah,
more
yeah,
than just
yeah,
downloading more and more and more and not doing shit with it, which
yeah.
upsets them, I think, because I don't know. It's doubly cool that I get to talk to you about this because I wanted to talk to you about entity attachments, which was something
Okay.
I had never heard about, never thought about. I never thought about spirits or entities or healing or astrology, anything like that. It was all like, was nothing to me. I thought there was nothing to it. And then I came back from my first DMT trip, and the word you used was devastated, and that's perfect because I was so shaken and just like put in the dirt, like I didn't know anything. All these
Yeah.
things I didn't know are suddenly so important to me and shit. So I got right on YouTube the next day, which is what you do after having a life affirming event, right? And I was trying to find somebody that had the same deal that I had. And I found a lot of people that had like similar trips and saw similar things, but they weren't conveying it in a way that I was like, no, no, you don't really get it. No, no, you don't. Why are you laughing right now? Like this is a serious shit. And then I came across your channel and you talked about how devastating it was. And I go, that's the word. She gets it. And you said specifically, which is like so scary, even now thinking about it, is when you said that the entities were waiting for you one time. They knew you were
Oh,
coming and they were waiting for you. And I
yeah.
didn't get that the first time, but certainly the second time, it was like I stepped into a meeting and I was not supposed to be there. And they all just kind of sat up and looked at me and they're like, "You really want to do this? Like this is not wrong time, wrong place, and you fucking know it. Don't be a fucking joke." And they were picking on me and bullying me and everything, and I kept fighting it. And I was like, "No, show me what you did last time." And they're like, you don't even know what last time was. You're not doing anything with what we told you last time. I'm not going to show you anymore. And I kept fighting it and fighting it. And they're like, kind of like a be careful what you ask for situation. Okay, you want to see more? You want to do more? Okay. And I had a one-on-one meeting with this like jester godhead, whatever you want to call it. But I felt like it was me. It was like this ultimate and alternate version of me, like me to my utmost. And he was very upset with me, this one. And we had a good long talk, and I cried. And then I came back, and that's when I found your video about the entity attachments. So before I talk to you more about my jester, tell me more about your octopus.
I can talk about that all day. In fact, I've been working on a piece because it's like ingrained within my mind. So it was like what in Islam is called jinn. That's what they call it. And that's what it was. It was made out of like, what they say is it looks like smoke, but they're these like entities that like it had this big, huge Cthulhu. That's basically what it was. This huge like alien brain. And then it had these tentacles, and it was like, again, wisps of smoke just coming and like touching my third eye right here and just reading all the information, every single thought, every single memory. And I didn't, well, I was like, whoa, get away. Like, what the fuck? That's not cool. And I freaked out, and like, it was terrifying. I've seen, have I seen jesters? No, that's one thing I haven't seen, but I've heard a lot of people talk about that. But I've actually had that checkerboard theme within my hypnagogic vision. So that's a big thing there. And I met these beings, like these different like insectoid beings that were just like, again, like non-threatening, but like very clinical, almost like sterile, you know what I mean? And like, it was like, I was just tuning into like different dimensions and like seeing different, yeah. And you see cats there, dogs there, like different animals, insectoids, reptilians, really interesting. Entity attachments. Do I really believe that an entity can attach? Do not take the proper precautions, even with like spell work and magic, and you have to protect yourself. So I use a lot of ritual baths, salt water, herbs, different herbs, a lot of salt. You can do a salt scrub in an herb bath with like roses, and like do a little ritual. I do all of that every week. So I'm pretty good. But I feel that everybody should educate themselves on spiritual hygiene and protection, so that won't happen to you. Also, I had an entity kind of like possess or take hold of me after giving somebody DMT, because they had and they wanted me to sit for them while there were 3 people. And one of them had a lot of trauma, and I felt it. A lot of fucking trauma. And it was like a trauma of like rape and racism and all that stuff. And we never drank after any DMT experience, any psychedelic experience, not even wine, just don't do it. It's just not a good, because that's how it possessed me. Like it took, if you're blackout, if you're like drunk, like you're going to turn to a different thing that you're not. And like, it's going to make you go into this like just psychosis of like crazy fear, anxiety, fear, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's not you, and like hate and all this stuff in your heart. And yeah, like I felt that, and I'm like, okay, next time, no drinking.
Mhm.
Even if it's hours after a ceremony, because that's what it was. It was like we did it in the morning, and then at night we took a few shots. Not a good idea.
Mhm.
Never a good idea. Make sure you never, ever, ever, ever mix alcohol and psychedelics when you're doing them. When you're not doing any psychedelics, it's fine. But also just mind yourself with any mind altering substances, which are a lot of things. Even the internet and TV, and everything's.
I can't look at a screen after doing psychedelics. Even like on LSD, like my first couple times, it was like, yeah, watch a funny video or listen to some weird music or whatever, and that was fun. But then it's like I'm looking at something that isn't really there. It's not really, it's a piece of plastic in my hand, and that becomes so evident, like when I'm on psychedelics, that this isn't real. I don't want
Yeah.
to spend time
Yeah.
on something that isn't real right now. There's so
Yeah.
much
Yeah.
good shit happening around me.
It's real and it's not real. It's like this weird paradox. And I always see like both sides, because it's not real because it's illusions, like this is fake. This is not reality. And then it is real because then I have my art, and like I sell my art and designs, and they sell, and I make a living off of that. So does it have real world consequences? Absolutely. But is it everything? Absolutely not. It's this um avatar of who we are, and it's whatever you want it to be. So it's easily manipulated, and all that stuff. So, yeah, I also have to take a step back, because it becomes very overwhelming. Um, and I don't want that to change or consume me. That's why I took a step back. Because you start seeing, you're constantly checking how many followers you have, and you're constantly checking your likes and this and that. And I just was like, oh, this is just not good. Not
Right.
good. And then like that's why I just again started living within this world and making this world nice and beautiful, and relationships, and working on relationships in my everyday life. So that's helped, but again from a distance. So I'm literally alone all the time, whether I'm just with my fiance. We were supposed to be getting married last month, which was really weird, like
Yeah.
figure things out. So just thinking like, do it here. Do it at home,
Mhm.
like you need all those. um I don't know. I've never been like it's funny you're getting married soon. And I was thinking about it, like, what kind of wedding do I want? And I think I want something very intimate with my partner.
We're just hanging out. We're inviting just a couple people. I'm not even telling
Nice.
anybody about it. I've
That's
told you
awesome.
about it, and I haven't even told like my best friends or anybody. It's that small.
Great. So cool.
We're gonna do
When
like
did you guys engage?
I mean, we've been together for like over a decade, so
Yeah.
we've always kind of known. But then the
So
other
it's like,
day we were just like, let's get
yeah.
our license and just fucking do it. I'm not going anywhere,
Nice.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool.
It's kind of like how we feel like doing the same thing. At first, we're supposed to go to Alex Gray's place to get married, and then all this weird shit happened. And I'm like, that's a sign. That's a sign not to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. I don't like spending money anyways, so
Yeah,
I just want it to be
yeah.
about us.
That's awesome. That's what's up. Yeah, that's so cool. Are you guys gonna celebrate after?
I don't know if she wants to. I don't know. I'm not the celebrating type. I very like to keep to myself, which is hard to do when you're getting married.
Yes, I completely agree. It's so weird being a girl and going through what you're going through, and getting married, and everybody's super excited for you, and you're like, should I be feeling something? I don't feel, I just feel like it's silly. It's silly because I have so much gratification in my everyday life. I don't need it just for this one day.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
I agree. It's like a big commercial of our relationship, which is like it's not going to change either way. You know, but it's
Well,
fun. It's fun. Other people have fun.
I mean, like that's basically what I've been like coming to the realization of. So I've been like making the place super romantic and beautiful because like we're not going anywhere. We're not getting married. I mean, we're probably just gonna get a license, but like it just really puts into perspective what's really important. Whereas I feel like the generations before that weren't dealing with all of this right now would have been like pushed into this weird social thing, you know? And like that's what I'm saying. It's like it's very like you're supposed to know a lot of people and you're supposed to like it's all this pageantry. And like honestly, I never liked being the center of attention. So the agoraphobic in me it's just like, oh my God, no, I don't want to deal with this, you know? But the human that's been living in culture has been like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why? But you just realize it's all bullshit.
Right. But then I don't want to be the negative asshole that's like, this is all silly and this is all bullshit. Like, I do want everybody to be happy and I do love you
So,
and it's forever, but
it is though.
it's the
Because,
pageantry of it.
yeah, it is
It's the
though.
center of attention thing. I hate that.
It's very, for me, it's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. That's the only word that can come is this discomfort of having all these eyeballs on me
Mhm.
that I want. Uh, you know, so yeah, it's kind of like a phew, that's it's almost like before people were just like, oh, you know, you don't like going out, you keep to yourself, this and that. But now it's just like, well, that's what we're supposed to be doing. So like I've been, you know, like I'm being socially responsible by keeping my distance from people. But yeah, it's kind of how I like things.
Yeah. Now I have an excuse to not go do anything, which is perfect for me. I never had any good reason before. It was just, I don't know, that's how I am. I don't know. I don't wanna. I don't feel like it.
Yeah, I
Now
feel
I'm
it.
like, oh, global pandemic. Sorry, guys. I tried. I'd love to, but this damn pandemic, you know? Shit, sorry.
Yeah, do nothing
Staying at
anymore.
home,
I love it.
getting zooted by myself. Sorry.
Right? Isn't it so fun when you have like a partner that you really love and that's on this path too? And like it's psychedelic. I think that's like,
It feels like they come from somewhere else. And I felt this with certain people and certain pets. It's like this girl that is such a big part of my life when there's so many other girls. I think after this life, whatever path I'm on, you know, the bigger path, the ultimate one, she's going to be a part of it. Or
yeah,
she was before this place, you know, like
that's what I was gonna say.
she's
Feel
part of
very,
this narrative,
yeah.
you know, and it's, I don't know. I don't think it's happenstance that you find these people.
I feel that like with my partner at least, I felt like he was very familiar. Like I met him before, but I didn't. And like when they say that, like that really happened. Like that's
Yeah.
really true. You feel like you've known them before, or you've had this meeting with them, but you've never met them before, and you know that they're going to be in your life. Yeah, absolutely. I can agree to that. And I feel very lucky. I just feel
Yeah.
extremely.
Yeah. And that's why I'm agreeing to go with all the rigmarole and all the pageantry of it, whatever, because it is important to me.
Yeah.
She was worth it.
Oh, that's so exciting.
So you deal.
That's awesome. I'm excited. Good things are happening still. I know a lot of people that have just like used this as an excuse not to spend a lot of money, and they're like, all right, let's get married.
Yeah, I've actually seen a lot of it happening too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, none of it really matters though, you know, like, and I find if that's what your relationship is like based on, then it's not really gonna last very long.
Yeah, the piece of paper is very important to some people, more
Yeah,
so than how you actually feel about the person or are going to feel about the person later.
yeah, yeah.
It's about bragging on Facebook and shit. I don't have to brag about how I feel about things.
Yeah, yeah. I know one person that does that a lot. I think that's I don't know. How old are you? You're like
33.
okay, so you're my age. Okay, I think it's like a generational thing.
Or Capricorn thing. Yeah,
I'm a Capricorn.
I know, that's really weird. I just realized that too. So it's a
No, but
reflectional thing.
well, you know what? I think that like some people just want to like I know, I think that's corny. Like I don't like to judge, but yeah, I think that's kind of silly. Like I don't need to announce to the world how I feel. I kind of
Get it.
take it.
I get it though. I mean I understand. It's just not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting.
And I don't want some fucking jester coming and messing it up, so I'm just gonna be very agreeable this whole time. Because that specific jester is the one that has followed me like outside of my DMT trips.
So you think so? That's why you wanted to talk about entities and entity attachments. I
I
got it.
think
Oh,
so, but I couldn't find any evidence of like your octopus following you around. You know,
well, no, I don't. Hmm. Something did follow me, but I fucking like I fought or I fought. I do lots of spiritual baths. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Like I'm very I'm very researched about protection and protecting yourself. So that's what I've been doing. But yeah, something can follow you from there. Make sure you protect your space, treat it like a ritual. um, Treat it for what it is, you know, this magical ritual. If that's what you're doing. A lot of people think it's just tripping. It's not. You're performing magic. um, and take the proper precautions. Um, don't drink. Don't, I would say, be very mindful. There you go, that's the word. Be very mindful of everything that you're consuming.
Yeah,
Don't when you have mental health crises, when you are prone to mental health crises. I did, and it worked out for me, but I've seen it not work out for people. So I'd be very cautious um, because it can trigger uh, schizophrenia and bipolar.
hmm
Um, yeah, so be careful. Be really educated, like educate yourself a lot when it comes to what you're doing. I feel like when I went in, I thought I knew, but I didn't know anything.
that's exactly it. That was exactly
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So it was like you said, like it peeled back and you saw what was really going on and you just didn't want to go there. Yeah, I feel you on that. Terrifying, disruptive, disappointment, like all of this stuff. Yeah, like that feeling of that heightened state within the DMT space, like it's maddening.
Yeah, yeah, it is, because it's
Yeah.
everything you've known is suddenly wrong, and there's all of this new stuff that I had no idea about. And I think the scariest thing was like on my first DMT trip is I always thought my imagination was like the end of the road. That's as far as you can get. If I can't imagine it, there's nothing else. You know, there's nothing beyond my imagination. It's my awareness is the biggest thing. And then I did DMT and it was like, there's something aware of my awareness. There's something that knows what I know and don't know. And there's something past my imagination. And that's what was kind of so scary to me that first time. It's like, oh, there's actually other shit. It's not just like, I don't know. I feel like it's me. I feel like a lot of it is me. You know, these gestures are playing off my personality. And I've had trips where I felt like I was in my own DNA, like it was all helixes, and I was like inside
Yeah.
my own life, and all these gestures and elves were popping up and trying to get my attention and playing with me. I felt like it was just me. They were all just extensions of me, and I was watching me, and this is how I come off to people, and this is how I interact with people.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a fucking clown. Maybe that's why you don't see gestures.
I mean, I am a very serious Capricorn sometimes. So but I did see the machine elves. I did see the machine elves, and the machine elves were very childlike, very like Peter Pan.
Yes, very
Which is
giggly.
probably that's the Pan spirit actually. But it was like these alien Peter Pans that were like very childish, and that's my shirt. That's exactly what I saw. You know what I mean? Like that's why I drew that. This is exactly what I saw. There were these like self-transforming machine elves that were just very, so those were probably jesters. They were probably like jester like, but robotic machine elves at the same time, which is kind of weird.
No, there's a difference. Because I've seen things that I would definitely differentiate as machine elves and not the jesters. Like the machine elves, they're very, like you said, robotic, and it's like very, I guess steampunky. It's like there's gears and gadgets, and there's always something spinning and like mechanical whirring, kind of like robotic, I guess is the best word for it.
Yeah.
But I think there's something way
and lots
more
of
like poetic about an octopus, because they're known for like being able, they're made for grabbing on and attaching to things and not letting go, and that's, I don't know, I think that seems more appropriate than a bunch of clowns all the time.
I don't know. Have I ever seen it again? No. Do I felt like it followed me? No, I don't, because my life got really fucked up and bad for a while. Like it was like test after test after test after test after test after test after test. And I just kept on thinking that it's going to get better. It's going to get better, and it's going to get better. And it did, you know what I mean? Like it does eventually, if like you stay at it and you know that everything's going to be okay, and you work at something. It's not just manifestation, it's actually work. You have a work ethic and you start working towards and building something. And I think that's my major problem with people that talk about manifestation. They don't talk about the blood, sweat, and tears, the going without, years of just grinding and working towards your vision, and sacrificing a lot. So I found myself like, that's the download I got in DMT. Um, so that's why I worked so hard. And then I found myself working so hard. And then I was just like, wait a minute, what about me? What about this life? What about human interaction? What about friends? What about all this stuff, that I completely gave up for years? So I felt like I was really neglecting me, because like, instead of like buying clothes, I buy art supplies. You know what I mean? Instead of
Yeah,
buying things for the house, I'll buy art stuff, or like stuff like that. So like, you just like start realizing that you have to like do for you after a while. Like, you have to really if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. So that's why I felt like I had to position myself in a place of being very much in control of my life and with a purpose. And I was working towards something. And I think when you do those things, when you follow those steps, that is manifestation, and being a successful person, or what is being successful, but like loving what you do and creating something that wasn't a possibility. And you're not working a 9 to 5, and that's just not your path, and you're not working at a factory or at a grocery store or anything, but you're working for you. And there's so much unlimited potential within you. So I think that first you need a little bit of confidence, or I had to deal with confidence issues or I'm still dealing with confidence issues, to really to accept, to accept the gift that is what you deserve, or what you think you deserve. And if you have these expectations of life, and that's why I think it's very important to tell your children they can do anything. You're programming your child with what you're saying to them. And I've been really thinking about these things now, because I'm, engaged and getting married and having children. And maybe, I don't know, but if it happens, I'm obviously going to have a child, but is that my goal right now? I don't really know the world the way it is, but I still am very instinctive for understanding that if you tell a child that they're nothing, and that they're stupid, and they're this and that, that they'll grow up really thinking that, and not thinking that they deserve anything. But if you praise your child and you tell them how amazing they are, and play classical music for them, and teach them, and um, invest within them, and invest time and resource and money and everything, then you're going to have a child that thinks that they can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I, being, again, intentional with everything within your life. So why wouldn't you do that with your family and your children? I think that's what healing trauma is you're realizing that the reason why your mother or your father did that thing to you is because that's their learned behavioral pattern, and that's what they experience. So they're passing that down to you. And that was me recognizing that, my first DMT experience, and then every single DMT experience constantly shedding more light on something that I didn't want to see, where it taught me the human I should be for the generations after me, and
Absolutely.
how to raise children that are going to have healing, and they don't have to heal from anything, because they're just so fucking blissfully happy. And I think, that's what like a woke parent, or healed parent, or healed mother, father, human, whatever. I think that's what we need now. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's almost like our jobs as humans, whatever we're doing here. Like, when people say, what's the meaning of life? Like, at its most basic, is probably to procreate, make another version of myself, and then make it better than me. Teach it all the things I wasn't taught, Teach you to avoid the pitfalls
Yeah,
that I fell into. Don't do this stupid shit. I do
exactly.
this stupid shit. This stuff is really cool. Do more of this. This is how you make money. This is how you make friends and make a better version of me so that when I'm gone, they can do the same thing over and over. And eventually we could all be like this super awesome, you know, eventually we could all, but I feel like we're going backwards. So maybe not, maybe not. But like you
I
said,
I feel like a lot of
it's, you are very important. You are very important, you know? And once you realize that, then you can make the people around you realize how important they are too, I think is what it is.
yeah, yeah, no, it's very lonely. I realize this is a lot of people aren't for this path. A lot of people aren't, they're not aware of how they treat people. They're not aware of how they're making, and nothing's intentional. Everything's just like autopilot. And I see that. I see that a lot. I notice that in conversations, people rarely get deeper. They only talk about themselves. Me. And like they don't talk about the deeper meaning of life. They don't talk about like none of this what we're talking about. I can never talk to anybody in like my real life other than my partner, which is why I'm with him.
Hmm.
Because we can
Yeah.
have, he's a psychic, like we can have these conversations and we're constantly pursuing the same thing. But yeah, I see that when I'm talking to people. It's just what me, and what I want. Like the next best thing. My job always so weird when people like say, "So what do you do?" And I'm trying not to like. I don't know what to say. I'm like, I'm an artist, I guess, but that seems really pretentious.
Yeah.
But and like I think that's what like the internet is. It's like this pathway that I think like you're just an improvement on the older generation, and the new generation is going to be an improvement on us, and it's this fractal effect. So I'm really interested to these. I was just talking to my sister. She's she's like me but way cooler.
Mine is too.
And I'm just like, holy shit, not only do you have a photographic memory and she's an amazing artist, but she can do a Rubik's Cube in 30 seconds. And I'm like, this girl does math for fun. She's crazy smart. Like, it's insane. And you're just like, and you're gorgeous. Oh my God. Like, this is so cool. I'm so excited. I love that. I love to see the younger kids just being awesome and like having all this confidence. I think because that's what my mother didn't give me. She always made me feel ashamed of things. She always made me feel shy about things. And I was never really able to express myself fully without her making me feel weird or stifling me or shaming me or making fun of me. So instead of just completely growing and like having that confidence so young, like my little sister, I was very closed until I was older. And then I was able to, develop myself as a person. So yeah, I can talk about healing all day, every day. It's literally what I've been doing.
You said that like most conversations don't get any deeper than, just surface level plastic stuff. But do you feel like now that you've done psychedelics, it's like, especially right after you've done them, that you're hard to talk
I
to?
No, it's a synchronicity. Okay, so perfect example. My partner was in a meeting, and in the meeting, his coworker, there was a staff meeting, and he was talking about DMT. So it's like stuff like that, where it's just like.
Yeah, the synchronicity is actually like, I want to turn it off sometimes. It's almost
Yeah,
like
yeah, or like perfect example, our neighbor, like psychonaut, and I'm just like, whoa.
once you start
Like
noticing, You don't
Yeah.
stop noticing it. Like it just
Yeah.
starts piling on. But I found it
Yeah.
like hard to communicate with people. Like I would do LSD like all night and then I'd go into work in the morning and somebody would come up to me with like a complaint and I'm like, the world is so beautiful. What are you complaining about? And then like everywhere I go, I'm like feeling people's egos and I'm like, oh no, everybody's so full of themselves. I'm not talking to anybody today.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
way up here
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. Like I come into work floating on a cloud of just positivity and oneness. And then I get there and there's 1,000 people that don't feel that or don't have that in their life.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh no,
Yeah.
you guys are gonna bring me right back down.
Well, that's exactly why I spend a lot of time alone.
Yeah,
It's people are not going to be on this. You can't expect the same things from people. You can't expect people to treat you the same way. You can't expect people to be as generous and kind as you. It's just these assumptions that everybody is going to be as loving and empathic as me is garbage because it's not true. There's this filter that people have where they just don't think about the things that you do. They're too
yeah,
busy. Like, that's it. They're just too busy. Like, I had somebody say, like, I'm too busy surviving. And that's like the truth. That's literally the truth of like a lot of people.
yeah,
I think balance and again, being very humble that you're experiencing this and thankful. So that's all. Every single day, I just keep on thinking, I'm just like, damn, I'm blessed. Like somebody's really protecting me or a ancestor. I don't know, because we've been through so much, we've just been through so much hell. And the whole entire world is, so I kind of have hope. I have hope. Um, I think that this whole entire experience is like what you said, improvement. Everything is improving. You're constantly improving. You're constantly growing. You're constantly aware of more things. You're constantly picking up all this information. And it is up to you what you do. And I think that's why I just feel so inspired to live life beautifully, to create, to be. If we are truly gods and goddesses, then why not treat ourselves that way? Why not live like that? Why not truly respect ourselves? And again, having that kindness and empathy and compassion and giving, but then realizing that people will take advantage of you because people always take advantage of me. And I just have to establish boundaries again, isolate myself, because I am very friendly and like I've noticed people totally take advantage, and you just have to like establish boundaries, go away, heal yourself, focus on yourself, and then allow people back in based on the boundaries that you created. And if they can't comply, then they could get the fuck out.
yeah. No, it's you're absolutely right. It's such a shame that friendliness gets confused for weakness so many times.
Yeah,
To the
yeah,
point where it's
yeah,
almost like fuck you everybody then. Like then I just won't be nice. If there's no advantage to it, I'm not getting it back,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's when it kind of turns you.
Yeah, and like that's what I've been realizing. Like I'm just like, wow, people will take advantage of you real quick. And like they won't see how it's wrong. And you're just like, you have to do something. And like everything I do is extremely intentional. So it's just like if I'm like a cold shoulder to you, it's because you did something. And
Yes.
you should know. You don't get it. And then you get offended. Like this happens all the time. And it's just like, why are you offended? I was the one being taken advantage of.
Yeah. Like I don't know what I
Yeah,
did wrong. Why are you being so standoffish?
yeah, yeah. And like I noticed that because like we were very kind and like people take advantage all the time. Like because my partner is also extremely empathic, extremely sensitive, extremely kind. And, you know, we realized that we're like, oh, we have to be really guarded all the time. And it's not fun. It's kind of like sad. Like, you're just like, wow, I have to be a dick.
Yep.
I don't want, I want to be kind. I want to be giving. I want to like, but people assume things of you, and then they have ulterior motives, and then they use you, and you're just like, wow,
And then
I'm
people
not
think
like
there's
this. So I,
and then people just think there's no more nice
yeah,
people left in the world, but it's because they all have their walls up.
yeah, exactly, exactly. And like I've had to realize that myself, like being kind, like I realized like there was a situation where like we needed to put major boundaries up for everybody in our life, everybody. And it's just like, damn, like I can't even like, I can't, like my family, like neighbors, everything, like everybody, you have to just be like that with everybody. Cause like, you know, people make these assumptions or they just don't get it. Or like, you know, it's just like, I need time to recharge. I can't be around everybody all the time, you know, and like it's just creating boundaries and being okay with that and not, again, you're gonna think you're mean because you're a nice person, but no, this is normal. Um, and I've seen people literally just be so just fucking rude, and you're like, oh my god, I gotta go away for a while. You know what I mean? I gotta go away. You know,
Yep.
and take advantage. And they don't see their, because they're not conscious of their actions. They don't understand that they're very transparency. Everything's very transparent. And people don't know that. You know, like your actions are very transparent. You are very transparent. What you're about, it's all in you. And if a person is psychically in tuned, they can read you.
Hmm.
And I've had situations with people where it's just been psychic and we know just to like stay apart. There's just like, I don't want to, you're spiritually just like, there's a lot of healing that needs to happen. And
Yeah.
I don't sucked into all that bullshit because I took my salt bath. I did my ritual. I have my fucking altar. I got everything going and I know me. All right.
Yeah.
I got my ancestors on style. Like I know me. I got my guides. I've done psychedelic trips. So like I have been doing the work and you have not been doing anything and you don't even know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you just realize that that's what it is. Like you're a spiritual warrior. And this person doesn't even know we're dealing with this
Yeah.
thing that's going.
Like you said, they're too
Yeah,
busy. They're usually too busy to even realize they're being rude or being this way.
yeah, yeah, and they're not on that path. They're too busy. Exactly. So it's really interesting. People that I used to admire, I don't anymore.
Oh
Values
yeah.
change.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, everything changes, and then the you that you were in 10 years ago, you know, I don't even know. Honestly, I was reading tweets that I had from, I was like, who the fuck is this person?
I,
And
I couldn't
where
hang out with me
to
from 10
go?
years ago. Absolutely not.
Yeah. I didn't know who the hell I was. That's when you start realizing, like, is that what entity possession is? Is that what you're doing when you're taking these like psychedelic like doses? Like, are you kind of like beating your astral body of these parasites or
Could be.
attachments? You know, I feel that's what it is, because like the person I was pre psychedelics and now we are not the same. Like,
Mm-mm.
I
You
don't even
couldn't be.
know. I was this very sick mentally, spiritually, physically. And I had no path. I was so destructive. Yeah, that now it's just like, wow, like that's what I'm saying by doing the work spiritually, emotionally, healing. Like there's a lot of stuff that you start realizing. And I do it with a lot of my family members, and we have these conversations like just like this. And we're talking about very spiritual stuff because I have a lot of very spiritual family members that are highly sensitive, and like my aunt that I was talking to, my grandmother, when we're not fighting over silly things, but you learn a lot from people, you know, that are particularly like these people within your life that you're just like, oh, you're there for a reason, you know, like whatever friend you have that you can talk about these things, whatever family member, whatever sister, whatever, whoever it is, normally there's that one person that you can talk to, and you start realizing that they're a guide, you know, there for a reason. And I think that's so not everything is horrible. Not you don't have to be guarded and like a lot of the times it's just like people are coming to me to like word vomit all their trauma so they could heal. And like you're just like, damn, I don't want to do this right now. Like, there's a lot. But there's a lot of that, you know, everybody comes to us with their problems. And I'm like, ooh, you know, I'm an empath and healer. It's like they could feel it. So it's not all bad. There's a lot of learning. You know, I learn a lot from people. I don't know, just knowing this path is very magical and having fun. That's what I've been doing.
A lot of people are too busy to have fun. Nobody has fun anymore. Nobody's focused on like, let's just have fun. It's always, you know, what are we doing? Where are we going? It's like, well, what about the fun? Where's the fun part?
Yeah. Yeah. Making life fun. I think that's
like you said,
important.
Just buying art supplies, whatever you got to do with whatever your version of fun is. Like, don't feel like that's pretentious to say you're an artist. That's fucking awesome. Like, I'm proud of your shit. Like, yeah, I'm an artist.
I also went.
I'm lots of things.
School, like people like think, but it's just like I went to art school, but like I didn't go within the system. You know what I mean? I didn't have like a corporate job like ever. I was always a bartender, you know, or a waitress. I never got in the art world. It's like it was very, very pretentious, very hard. So I kind of had to, all of my friends that I went to school with, we all had to make our own. We all had to do our own. So I have a lot of friends that are like amazing artists, and I'm getting, you know, somebody's art. I'm so excited. Buying art finally, because I have a place to get, you know, put stuff up. And like that's what you do. You know, you support fellow artists, you create art, you create content, you add videos, whatever. It's you, it's your soul. That's basically what it is. It's your soul. You're showing everybody your soul, and people are attracted to your light or to your what makes you human.
Yeah.
So
like you said, a lot of people get that shyness early on, and then you're too shy to express yourself, and those walls never come down, and that's a shame.
Yeah, it took a psychotic break to get me the confidence to go on the internet and say, guys, I just did this drug, what the fuck.
yeah but it's devastating. It
takes
your whole existence, so you got to tell somebody. Like I said, the next day I went on YouTube and I'm like, how is nobody talking about what just happened to me? Like, why have I never heard of this? Why is this not the biggest fucking deal that's ever happened in human existence? I want to scream everything I just saw from the top of a mountain and tell everybody. And that's maybe not everyone's ready for it.
Well, because they're not thinking, like, you have to really be a seeker to want to know.
I
And I
guess.
feel like
Yeah.
there's this false going on that people think that, like, no. Has nothing to do with political parties. It's nothing to do with anybody's agendas. It's to do with you and your light and your breath and like who you are at the core of you, experiencing and understanding and living, and like the universe experiencing itself. So like, what does that mean? That's just the ordinary things. And like, that's what I started doing, like very ordinary shit, but at the same time doing art, you know what I mean? And like channeling that beauty that I have within me in my life. And that's what you do. That's what an artist does. So
That's what art is. That's what people should be doing. All people should be expressing their own person.
yeah.
And
I've
with
been
all
having
these
so
agendas, they don't want you to be an individual. That scares people. They
yeah,
want you in a box. They want you gay or straight or black or white or this or that or red or blue, and they want to put you in a box, and now it's you versus these people, and it's you versus this. When you as an
yeah,
individual, there's so much more to you than black or white or gay or straight. Like there's so much more to every person than that. That's the stuff that
yeah,
we focus on as far as who you are as a person is so ridiculous because everybody goes so far beyond that. Everybody should
yeah,
say they're an
yeah.
artist. When they ask what they do, everybody should start with, well, I'm an artist, but then I do this. That would be beautiful.
Right.
There we
Okay.
go. We got you back. Did you want me to pimp any of your stuff, your Etsy, your Instagram, anything? I'll put all that in the description, obviously, but do you want to
Yeah.
talk about your stuff, please?
My store, my Etsy shop is called Sacred Quantum Art. I do psychedelic clothes. Hold on, let me go in the light. Psychedelic clothes. Yeah, and I do artwork. A lot of psychedelic artwork. Oh, let me show you that.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, hang out. Super excited. But yeah, I've just been creating a beautiful space, practicing what I've learned, you know, and being way cooler than my parents. So I've been doing art. That's the kind of stuff I do. Got my art up. Oil paintings. The coloring is really weird, but in person it's breathtaking. But yeah, that's what I've been doing. Art, me, being alone, thinking about death a lot.
It's part of it.
I don't know. I've been thinking about it for like, since 2016.
I've thought about death since I was a very small child. I used to cry myself to sleep every night before school because my parents are going to die one day.
Really?
Yep.
I had that feeling. I just didn't, I'm like, yeah. Because I was exposed to death at such a young age that it just was like, whatever. My brother died when I was like 4 or 5. So I was just like, yeah, like I just didn't care. It was just like whatever. But the older I got, this was the perfect trip room, though, by the way. I put this up specifically for my partner's acid experiences. So, yeah, just living trippy. There you go.
Maybe that's the key.
That's what I do. That's it. That's literally it. Like, do you. Don't try to fit in. And be weird and find somebody equally as weird to share your life with.
Yep. Keep them around. Because those people are few and far between.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. Do I feel like I have any entity attachments? I don't know. I think life would be a lot worse. Like I'd be like fighting all the time. You know what I mean? I think that's like stuff like demons or entity attachments or whatever is like when you have like spiritual unrest. So you're constantly like fighting. My addictions were also, I find my demons like eating disorders, programming, you know what I mean? It's just like you see all these things, and you heal all these things. So I find like that's what like my attachments were. And I don't have like those issues, or like I had a lot of anxiety, I had a lot of depression. Like those are the things I feel like are the attachments that aren't really truly you. And once you find who you are, then I don't know, they just kind of melt away. That's kind of how that's what happened to me. And I'm not saying that's everybody's experience, because I actually knew somebody that had a severe mental health crisis because they fucked around and did acid when they shouldn't have been doing it, because they had a undiagnosed mental health issue and it fucked everything up. So yeah, you have to be very mindful. I have been balancing the spiritual and the physical. That's what it is. It's a balance. And when people are like, you know, oh well, like you're too materialistic, you're too this or too, you're kind of dealing with both. You have like 1 foot in the spiritual world and 1 foot in the physical world, or 3D. And you're kind of, there's a balance between both. And I think that's what like the magician or the shaman or the witch or whatever does. Like there's a spiritual world. So it's just like when people are fighting about politics, you're laughing because you're just like, bitch, they don't have political parties in the spirit. Like they, like that's where people's minds are. And you're just like, that's not a thing.
Right.
in the spiritual space. Like it's not like, they're not like, and that's what you're doing. So like they're not there. And like that's what I've been dealing with a lot of people. It's just like, all right, we're blessed. That's why I keep on saying we're just really fucking blessed. And I'm so thankful. And I think that's what like these attachments are, when you see people with like addiction and different types of addictions, whether it's constantly, because they're not spiritually in tune, so they're not connected to source, so they need this dopamine hit, or they need the stimulus. They need to be constantly stimulated to feel happy, because they're just so bored with their life. And that was me before. And now I realize that I didn't need all those extra things. I didn't need anything other than myself. Everything was within. And all I needed was that courage to be myself and to be different, and what I'm doing, like, it's very different, and like what you're doing is very different, and like it's different from our family and our parents and all this stuff, and society is not going to understand it, but they haven't been dropping a whole ton of acid like we have in the past. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, come on, you didn't do, and not even acid, it's DMT specifically, DMT. It's just like,
Yeah.
once you have DMT, the game is kind of solved. Like, this 3D Earth,
Hmm.
not like, not the next path. Like, some, I have like kind of like, I know it's there. I don't know where it's going to take me, but I know that the last minute of death, I know. And I know that there is something after that.
Right.
So I don't know what's going to happen to us completely, but I do know that our brain is wiped out from who we are, like who we are physically in our physical body. That does not matter anymore. We are a spirit.
Right.
And that spirit is not encapsulated by a human flesh suit. So all of this human shit, like, that's what it is. It's like human shit. It's like not a thing. And I keep on trying to like explain this to people, and they're just like,
Yeah. And DMT is the difference, because even people that have taken LSD a lot, like I have friends that have done
yeah,
LSD a lot, and they get it more than, they get it more than most people that I talk to. But there's still like a level
yeah,
that I'm just like, oh, dude, I wish you could just know. I wish you could have just been there. And you will be there one day. Everyone's going to.
not
But
now.
I just wish we could have that conversation. I've done a lot of acid and stuff, and I'm like, it's a different
Not
animal.
the same. It's not the same. It's not the
It's
same.
a beautiful time. It's very magical. I've had a ton of great times on LSD, but it's not what DMT is, whatever that is.
I truly believe that that is like the last moments of like life and death. That's the beginning. That's what it is. That's the point of the beginning of the transition.
Hmm.
And I feel that's what it is. It's this realm of unlimited possibilities and portals into different dimensions. And we're just like hopping, and like you said, like very scientific, very chemical, very robotic, and very um
Like structured almost.
yeah, there's definitely a map of it. Because we constantly see the same things, we talk about the same things, we do trip reports about this, very similar entity. So obviously these are, you know beings within a certain realm, um,
Yeah.
that we're doing. So like they're not like fantasy, but they probably are, but they're like in this realm. Um,
If
so yeah,
if
yeah,
everybody had a completely different DMT trip, I probably wouldn't think it held as much gravity as it does to me, to read all these reports and have people almost word for word experience what I've experienced, or they'll just say like they'll say a certain word or a certain phrase, or I kind of felt like this, and it'll bring you right back to that moment, and you're like, oh my God,
mhm,
I've been there. I've been exactly there. And I think it gives
yeah,
more gravity to the situation, that like it's not like they're pulling you into a place. It's like a place that's there, and you popped in for a second. And on LSD, it's
yeah,
very easy to go,
yeah,
I don't know if that existed or if I was just hallucinating or if what I felt was real. But DMT, every time I go there, it's like, here I am again. This is it again. I forgot how familiar and how home this is. Like, I don't know. I have a
yeah,
problem retaining that magic, I guess, sometimes, because it shocks me every time I go back there. It's like, I should be used to this. I should not be so phased by this by now. But it's every time it's the most incredible, mind-blowing, beautiful thing that I can't get over it.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I've been kind of scarred into going in that. I mean, I'm doing it in my everyday life, in my dreams. So, I mean, it's still happening. I'm still doing the work, still tripping in my dreams. I'm still, you know, doing it in the everyday life. So, I find that it's continual work. It doesn't stop until you die. Until you graduate.
Yeah, you upgrade one last time, and then
And constantly, I've been thinking about my last thoughts and like what I would think and just going with peace and not going in fear and how difficult that is because it's just like this trust. It's this trust. And then the seconds keep on going by and I'm like, oh my God, when I'm gone, life's still gonna go. Like it's not like that's not the end of everything. Like it's those last breaths. And then realizing that it's just a transition. It's not the end, because I know it's not the end.
no, it's like I don't know what I would have thought my last thoughts were before DMT, but now I'm thinking like I'm more at peace. Like everything's cool. I'm just gonna blast off one more time. Like I feel like I've already felt that transition, a little piece of it. I poked my head in because I mean it feels like you're dying, and I don't.
Yeah.
I mean a
And
thousand
I,
percent
I
convinced.
had a death experience in DMT space, and I've had a death experience in acid. I had a death experience in mushrooms, but it's like a simulation. That's what I feel like psychedelics are. It's like a simulation of death.
Yeah,
And then you go, yeah.
yeah. If you do it right, I told my friend I was like, if you don't feel like you're dying, then you didn't do enough. And he's like, no, I don't want that shit. I'm like, mm, that's where you got to go though. You didn't take enough. You didn't go there. You'll know. And like, when people are like, oh, I don't know
Yeah,
if I broke through or not, I don't know if I had a breakthrough. I'm like, then you didn't.
you'll
Then
know.
you didn't is the only
Yeah, you'll
answer
know.
to that. Like, well, because you didn't. We'd be having a much different conversation. There would be no question. You can see it in someone's eyes when they come off of a DMT trip, the way they look at you, like, oh, dude, like I know, like you get it now. But it's also scary to say, here, smoke this, you're gonna feel like you're dying, and then you're gonna look at the world in a completely different way. Most people don't want that.
Yeah, everybody doesn't want that, though. I have met a lot of people that they're on my ass. They're like, you know, are you DMT? Can you make me some DMT? I'm like, fuck out of here. No, I'm not a drug dealer.
Yeah, I think DMT deserves more
Go.
respect than that.
You know, it's just like, but those are the people that just trip and trip, but like they'll get what's coming to them though,
They will.
because then you're gonna be too, and you're gonna be like, and then you're gonna be burned.
Well, intention's a big thing, and tripping for fun is very fun. But like, tripping for growth and really tripping by yourself, like in the dark and getting to know yourself, I think is my favorite way to do it.
Yeah, yeah, that's how I do it too. Silent darkness. I have my eye shades on.
Hmm.
Yeah, I do the same.
I just call it getting weird.
Because those are, yeah, those when you forget where you are,
Hmm.
when you're not in this, like you're not here, and that's where we go. Like that's I think where we go during death because you're completely. It's like you're asleep, and you don't feel your body.
No,
there's no weight.
you
There's,
forget about it.
you can see within, exactly, like you can see within like a 360 degree, like there's different angles. Yeah, my first astral projection experience was on DMT, and then I was able to astral project. So
Mine too. That is my
that's
only.
pretty fun, cool.
Not something I've practiced or gotten good at, but that, yeah. My friend handed me the pipe and I hit the DMT.
It's hard.
I like laid down, or I went to
It's
the left,
hard. Yeah.
and I'm sorry, you keep breaking up. I feel like I'm interrupting you. But
No, I stopped talking.
okay. No, I like the only time that's ever happened to me was I hit the pipe and my friend went to walk out of the room, and all of a sudden I was laying down in the bed looking up at myself hitting the pipe. And then I laid down into myself. I watched myself lay back down into me, and then the DMT trip started. But for sure, I was watching myself from the spot I was going to be in a second. And once I laid down into myself and kind of connected, I was like, I think that's the shit that people are able to do that are way better at this than me. But I can't do it like intentionally, And also the lucid dreaming. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
All right, so like also the lucid dreaming is something that I want to get better at.
It takes a lot of practice. Like I spend a lot of time in my bed with my eye shades on, not doing anything. It's a practice, and it might not look like I'm doing anything, but bitch, I'm going places. I'm going into dimensions. But it's a lot of practice. You need a lot of time for that. Like I'd say 2 to 4 hours is like what I like to do, like an hour, 30 minutes at least, in the morning and at the night time, like right about this time. You can't be too tired. Don't do it when you haven't slept all day. Do it after a nap. So that's why I like to do it when I first wake up. Although it gets really hard because like if you're lying down, you might be a little bit too comfortable and then fall asleep again. That happens to me all the time. So prop yourself up, wear eye shades. I use binaural beats, theta waves, all that kind of stuff. I have earplugs, put that in, and then I make it a practice. So I'm constantly doing stuff like that. So just because I don't blog about things like I used to doesn't mean it stopped happening, because like literally having visions every single day. That's why I need to constantly stay grounded. That's why I can't take psychedelics like I used to, because it's just like this is happening like in my everyday normal life. No drugs, like and when that happens you get scared. The first time I got really scared because I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Do I have a mental health issue? Like what's going on? Am I going crazy? And then I realized no, it's just that you're going to sleep but your brain isn't going to sleep. So that's all it is. So we go different places when we go to sleep. We go into the astral world. So it was really fucking scary when I first started, because I just started seeing this geometry. I'm like, what's going on? Like, did I trip by accident? And I realized that no, like we go there every night. We just don't know it.
Yeah.
And then once your brain is aware of that, then it's just like natural, because like you've experienced it and you're constantly experiencing, you're just experiencing sleep and death. And sleep and death are very similar. They're one and the same. You do it all the time. You do it every day. So yeah, that's why I think about death all the time. People think I'm like suicidal or morbid. I'm like, no, like, this is just, you know, like, what are you thinking about? I'm preparing myself, you know, for the transition. So, and I think like living with everything that's going on today, like, it's in your face. Like, we're all going through this dark night of the soul, spiritual growth, escalate, going through this. I guess it's like a collective dark night of the soul, or like collective awakening. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like everything that I learned in DMT space is just like a heads up, like, hey, this is what's going to happen. Hey, this is what's really important. You know what I mean? So like, keep this in mind. You know, like I was having dreams about the devil and death and destruction and chaos and our collapsing economy and collapsing government and this and that. And I'm like, what? No. Well, 2020. And then 2021, look what's happening. And I'm like, oh, this was just preparing me. Oh, like, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful. Like, the devil helped me. That entity helped me. He actually showed me what was happening before it happened. And then I had another entity, the Virgin Mary, come to me. So 2 entities, one that represented the light and one that represented the dark, duality. Both of them helped me. And it was really interesting because, like, I don't find, like, we're so afraid of this entity, but this entity showed me, you know. I find it very interesting. That's why I don't really agree that, like, all entities are bad. I don't want to put that propaganda out there. But not all demons are bad. You know what I mean? Like, they can be helpful. Demons can actually be helpful to you. Like, it can show you, like it did for me. And I'm like, this is crazy. Because, like, they're just multi-dimensional, interdimensional beings or programs within the system. That's what I think entities are. So, do I really think that they're just like, you know, I think they're more of like a program within the software, this like interdimensional extraterrestrial program that you're interfacing with. So yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with technology that we don't really understand.
Hopefully we will. Can't wait to really play around.
I think a lot of people are talking about it. I mean, you have people doing the science right now with you know, the Resonance Project and Nassim Haramein and Robert Wagner doing a lot of sacred geometry work. You know, like, that's why everything's sacred geometry. That's why all my art is sacred geometry, because it's all we are, all, you know, this reality is symmetry and geometry.
Fuck it. I'm just going to hit record again since we started talking again. We just found out we're born on the same day.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I knew 33 in Capricorn. I didn't know how deep that rabbit hole went.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Crazy. And you know what's really funny? What's his name? Mark Dreams.
Yes.
Is born on December 25th.
Almost. He's close.
Yeah. But we're literally like born with it, like all of us are like Capricorns, which I find is really funny.
Wow.
Because everybody's just like, Capricorns would never be like that selfless that they just like you saw that meme where they're just a Capricorn would sacrifice themselves. We were talking about Jesus, and they're like, haha, that would never happen, because it's true. Oh, that's why you said it was a Capricorn thing. Now I get it, because you are. That's really funny. What? Yeah, no, I could relate to that hardcore.
Wow. Crazy.